Hi everyone and welcome to Season 2, Episode 9 of From Hope to Glory at Truro City with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So the big question of the day, have we managed to secure the Vanarama National League South Championship? You're darn right we have, and it's time to celebrate. So here we go, one last game for the end of the season. We have won the championship. If we go and have a look at the league title, we did it at an absolute canter in the end. We're on 89 points after 39 games. The next best is Dover on 74 points after 39 games. So a huge 15-point gap at this point in the season. We've got one more game to play. Doesn't really matter what happens, does it? Hemel Hempstead are the opponents away from home. So a tricky game to end. They are currently in third spot, looking to try and overtake Dover in the second spot and get a better placing in the playoffs. So hopefully we can hold our own today, perform well, show why we are the champions and dominate the game. But so to say this season has gone really well is a total understatement. From the first couple of weeks of the season, we absolutely dominated the league. And we've ultimately done exactly what we wanted to do, which was back-to-back promotions. And next season, we're up into Tier 5. But for today, game against Hemel Hempstead, let's just check out the recent fixtures and what happened to lead us to the title. And to be honest, simply put, what happened is that we won a load of games. We drew a couple recently, absolutely we did. But the last few games in May have been exceptional. We drew 1-1 with Hayes and Yedding. We got a 3-0 win against Maidstone, and at that point, pretty much the title was done and dusted. So then we could relax. We played Dover, who are the direct rivals in second place, and played pretty well, to be honest. Got a late winner, a late couple of goals, should I say, to win the match coming from behind. 1-0 down to 2-1 win. And then in the last match, we rotated the entire 11 just to give everybody a chance to play towards the back end of the season and beat Slough 1-0 from Dan Rooney's goal at 55 minutes. So all in all, the run-in has been exceptional, really. Couldn't have asked for too much more. We got one more to play against Hemel Hempstead. I can't say the result matters, but the momentum leading into next season pretty much does. We have to see if we can win the last game, keep momentum high, and go into next season really, really in top good form. So we do have a couple of injury issues. We've got Riley Lowe out, Allen out and Ochran out just through fitness and injury issues. No major problem though. They're not in our first team 11. They would usually, a couple of them fit on the bench, but we've rotated that a little bit today. So as is the case and has been for quite some time, we get to name our first team 11, which is fantastic for the last day of the season. We've rotated this squad really well through the season and kept everybody pretty much fit and healthy as much as we've needed them to be. So for today's game against Hemel Hempstead, the last game of the season away from home, we name Hammond in goal, Morgan at right back, Rounsfell at left back, Kazoo and Stavrou in central defence, Early, Petit and Harvey in central midfield, McKenna on the right, Salam on the left and Neil up top with a bench of Murray, Walker, Rooney, Hagan and Horsewood. So for the final time this season, let's get into today's game and see what happens. So, as is befitting of a championship winning side just on the last day of the season, we've calmly suggested to the players it's a great opportunity to show everybody they've been right to back you up through this season. Go out and put on a good performance as champions and let's end this campaign on a real high note. The last episode you and I were together was a magnificent performance. Let's see if we can produce another one. Another long throw. Does it cause chaos? It doesn't. They clear it pretty well on that occasion. Rounsfell picks up the loose ball again though, drops it back to Petit. A couple of the central midfield players there, Early and Petit, good creative players. And on this occasion, Salam had just gone a little bit too early and found himself in an offside position. It was kind of obvious at that point, but very, very close. Early held onto the ball just a little bit too long and Salam's run was made a little bit too quick. But there's a warning sight for us, a warning shot, should I say, against the Hemel Hempstead goal. They've got to be have their wits about them to keep us out today, you'd hope. But a little bit quiet, 22 minutes gone and hardly a shot on goal, really. And maybe that's just the end of season tiredness and the fact that we know that we've already won it just creeping in a little bit. I'm not bothered about the result, really. It would be nice to win. It would be nice to keep that momentum. But whatever happens, we have been absolutely magnificent this season. And I'm just delighted to be able to go back-to-back promotions this early in this particular series. It's fantastic. The one little down point at the moment for me moving into next season is that the club so far have refused my opportunities to go and study for higher coaching degrees, just because as Neil hits the post and then follows it up for a good 1-0 win. A really good break through the centre there for Neil to run onto, puts the shot against the post, gets the rebound himself and puts it 1-0 up. Puts us 1-0 up, should I say. But yeah, as I was saying, they're not allowing me to study for coaching courses just at the moment. They're scared that if I do, I'll better myself and I'll leave them. They don't know that ultimately I have no intention of leaving, that I want to take this club as high as I can. But hopefully, once we're into Tier 5, they'll begin to let me study for some coaching courses and better myself and therefore better the club, hopefully, in the long run. But that's just a little bit of a blot at the moment. I've been trying every few months, and every few months they've declined my opportunity. So a little bit disappointing that I haven't been able to potentially get some better coaching courses under my belt at this point in the series. But hopefully that's still to come. Anyway, 1-0 up after half-time. Perfectly okay. It wasn't a very good first half, was it really? Not particularly entertaining, but I can't say I mind that particularly. Let's just go into the second half. We won't even bother giving a team talk. We'll just let them play, enjoy themselves, come out with no major pressure, and just see if we can find another goal to get us a little bit of a gap and then settle down for the last few minutes to be able to celebrate this championship win. And we've done fantastically well. I hope you've been enjoying the series so far. Let me know about highlights for you in the comments below, whether it's players or a particular match or circumstance scenario that we've been through, what you're looking forward to in the next season. Whoa, that was close, wasn't it? We almost gave a goal away. What are you looking forward to for next season? How much do you think we need to change this starting lineup potentially to cope with a new higher division? We'll look through the team in a little while. We won't analyse this particular performance, but we'll analyse the whole season a little bit and see who's performed well and talk about what we might do for next season just at the end of this video. So stick around for that. But at 65 minutes, we're going to pause the game and just make a couple of substitutions, keep everybody nice and fit and healthy. We'll take one of the central defenders out just because of the yellow cards. So on this occasion, it's Stavru that comes out and Murray that goes in. We've got a yellow card to Salam as well, so we'll take that out of the firing line and switch Hagan and McKenna over. Hagan is one that we need to talk about or what we do. Stavru is coming into the club full-time. Haven't made that decision with Hagan. We'll look at him after the game and you can help me make that choice for next season. And we've got one more that we can change round. We've got a couple of low ratings in the defence, but actually I'm not so bothered about that. I think what we're going to do is just take Neil out, give him a standing ovation at the end of a fantastic campaign, and then give Horsewood the opportunity to play for the last 20 minutes or so and see if he can get on the score sheet. He's going to be important for us next season, Horsewood, just as a rotating option in that striking position. I haven't decided whether we need to find a better striker in terms of the attributes than what we've already got, or whether we're okay with what we've got. But Neil will certainly start in that number 9 position next season because of what he's done for the last 2 seasons, so it's great. Hagan there with a good run through to this half of Hemel Hempstead, and it's Jack Byrne has been given a red card after a second yellow, and they go down to 10 men, and that's pretty much game over with a few minutes left, I would imagine. We get another chance to launch the ball in. Goalkeeper comes and punches it very, very nicely. On this occasion, they've dealt very well with our long throws, and they get to pass it about in the defence midfield area. Then they go over the top, and eventually Kazoo steps in and wins the ball really nicely. And we try and get a through ball headed on from Horsewood, should I say, but it doesn't quite come off. And we've got a couple of minutes left, 5 minutes left, plus a bit of injury time, just to keep the ball, keep moving it, keep working forward, and see if we can get one more opportunity at goal and end on a high. And it's McKenna with that chance. And boy, did he do it with a fantastic strike from the top area, the far corner of the penalty box, should I say. And he got it onto his right foot, cutting in off that left-hand side, which is what he can do really well. He gets the ball here from Roundsfell. It's past a defender. He gets it out from his feet with plenty of space, and then absolutely powers the shot into the back of the net. And that is a worthy goal if that is the last one that we score at the end of this season. We've just got a little bit of defensive work to do there. We do it pretty well, but Hemel Hempstead win the ball back in their fullback position. And again, they get to work through the centre of midfield to see if they can get a chance for themselves. We've got that extra man, though. And they are leaving quite a few back, so it does mean that we've got always an extra man to potentially press the ball a little bit and see if we can keep him out. But they've worked a chance very nicely, and in the end it's Hammond that has to come off of his line and claim the ball with no major problems. And again, we look for the header on from Horsewood. Doesn't quite come off, but the loose ball goes to Roundsfell in our left-back position. McKenna again cutting in off of that left-hand side, drifts past the defender, gets another shot away. And however good the first of his two was, that one was even better. And if that's the last goal of this particular campaign, then that is a very worthy one to finish with. Brilliant. Cuts round a defender, then gets it back on his right-hand side again, and then curls it round another defender to block the sight of the goalkeeper, and powers it in the back of the net again, and we come away with a very, very good and very comfortable 3-0 win to cement the fact that we are the Vanarama National League South champions for this season. I'm very pleased with the performance and the way that you played. Lots of motivation. There are going to be some changes next season, I'm sure. We'll do some stuff in the transfer window. I'll tell you about that setup in a second. But for now, we get to absolutely bask in the glory of having won the championship, done it really, really well. And let's look at the last league table of the season. And it has us 15 points clear at the top after 40 matches. 92 points, which is phenomenal. We lost twice, I believe, all season long in the league, which is fantastic. And on this last day, we demonstrated to one of our direct rivals in the top four why we were champions. So here we are back on the home page again, and there's a few things that we need to go through just to finish the end of this season off. So the first thing that we're going to do is celebrate a couple of the players, and the first one is Andrew Neal, the striker that last season, if we remember rightly and go and look in his career stats, got 32 goals in 36 games for us, and this season 31 goals in 33 games for us. Phenomenal achievement for the first two seasons of this series, isn't it? So he's going to remain our number one striker for next season until his form dips and he's not scoring the goals anymore. We cannot afford to drop him, can we? Because he's so important. He also got the highest average rating for the season, and it's Roundsfell that's really interesting. The inverted fullback that drops into midfield from his left fullback position. He's come in with 14 assists. So the way that my left side works is that he cuts in from the left fullback position to support the midfield just at the point where the Mazzala is leaving that spot to go out wide, and just before the attacking winger is either working down the left-hand side or cutting in on his right-hand side to get a shot in. And there's lots of movement down that left-hand side. It's worked really well this season. Will it work as well next season? Will we have to change any of the personnel? We'll have to wait and see. But Roundsfell had a phenomenal campaign for us at left fullback and has absolutely been the best assist maker that we've got so far this season, which is brilliant. The best pass completion rate is actually our striker Neil as well. He's dominated charts this season. Most player of the match awards is Neil again. Jamie Morgan gets the most yellow cards. We won't talk too much about that. That's fine. We got 87 goals in the 40 games that we played in the league, which is a good ratio. We conceded 35, so we were third best in the scoring charts and best in the conceding charts. We had a few yellow cards, but no red cards, which is good. And 622 average attendance rating for our games this season, which we need to start getting up a little bit higher if we can. And I suspect another tier and moving up another tier might help us to do that. But for the league we were in this season, it wasn't as good as it could have been. We need to start getting some more fans through the turnstiles if we possibly can. In terms of finance for next season, we've got this financial backer, of course, which is fantastic. So you can see that the overall balance is down, but that's okay. We're working well within our means, really. And they have absolutely, for the second time in 2 seasons, they've doubled the wage budget for next season, and that's the important thing. I don't suspect we'll spend an awful lot of the transfer budget. We might spend a bit of it, but more often than not, we're still looking for bargains on free transfers and expired contracts and the like. And if we've got the wage structure to bring in slightly better ones, then that is fantastic. So that's going to help us enormously as we go through the summer transfer window. So there are a couple of other things that we just need to think about, though. Let's go and have a look in this particular page here, and it's the likes of Hagen that I want to ask your opinion on. Now, Hagen has played 26 games from the start, 20 as a substitute, got 6 goals, 11 assists, and has done okay for us. Not a particularly high average rating, but I think he's done well. Would you keep him? Would you put him in our squad for next season? Or looking at his attributes and the fact that we're moving up to tier 5, does that mean that we need to again find a slightly better player for this particular position? Now, the likes of McKenna, who hold the position as the first team player most of the time, he's going to come up with us. There's no reason not to. He's got a contract for the next couple of seasons, which is great. So we've already got one on this particular side. Would you bring Hagen, or would you change for somebody else? And that's the thing that we've got to figure out right the way through the side, really. We've got Stavru coming into the club permanently. Is it time to look for a new goalkeeper even? 26 years old, Hammond has done really well for us the last couple of seasons that he's played. He's conceded 36 times in 35 and then 33 games, so not too bad at all. But is it now time that we maybe look for a new first-team goalkeeper? Where would you look to improve this this squad for next season? I'm just going to click through the team, the main first 11, and just let you have a look at the attributes just quickly. You can pause at any point you want to, and then put an opinion in the comments below as to which ones you'd build a side around and which ones maybe it's time to move on. The likes of Kazoo in the centre of defence, at 21 years old, is a good central defender, I think. And Stavru, his partner in crime this season, has been pretty good also. And they're both in the club next season. But would you look for a third one that maybe is slightly better even? Or are you happy to go with these two for the higher tier? Rounsfell doesn't have the best technical attributes, but has got some decent mental and physical attributes and played really well for us this season. Would you look to bring in a new backup for him? I'm not sure that Riley Lowe has got quite the attributes that we now need for that particular position. So maybe we'll be looking for another left back, and maybe it'll be a better one. Who knows? We've got Saxon Early. Great name, isn't it? Saxon Early. He's come into our central midfield and looked really good this season. Again, not the best average ratings, and maybe hasn't lit the place up, but he's played his part very well. But is he the player that we want as the Carolero, or should we be looking for an improvement there? Petit, I think this has been a class act, to be honest. Hasn't actually impacted the game as much as I thought he would in terms of the assists, etc. And his average rating isn't particularly high. But again, we dominated the games. Quite why these central midfield players are not getting the ratings that I think they deserve, I'm not 100% 100% sure, but there we go. McKenna, we've already talked about being in the club for next season. Now, this one's an interesting one. Tyler Harvey, he played 36 times for us this season, got 13 goals, 6 assists, and he's got a 7.06 average rating, which is all very, very good. He lacks the pace that this side is beginning to be built around. Is that enough to want to change him for next season? I'm not saying it is. I'm asking your opinion. He's got some very good technicals and mentals. His physical's not quite up to standard. Does that matter? And his star rating is beginning to drop a little bit as well as we bring better players into the club. Would you still play him next season, or would you be looking to bring in some pace in that attacking midfield role? Salam on the left, I think, has done very well for a 6.97 average rating, 14 goals, 4 assists in 35 starts for us. I think he's got pretty much everything that we need to keep him in this position. And we do have a little bit of a lack of depth in the left-sided winger position. I think that this season specifically, the likes of Pritchard haven't really come in and developed enough, haven't quite got what we need. And I think there's room for changing Pritchard out and bringing a new guy in. Again, does that mean that we get somebody better than Salam? Maybe, maybe not. And then the last one to talk about is we talked about Andrew Neil, keeping him as the first choice goal scorer for next season, but only if his goal scoring record continues, really, because we do have a very good striker in Horswood, who's got a little bit more pace, a little bit more finishing, good determination. There's a good striker in here, and he's only 19. Is it time for him to shine a little bit? Or is there somebody else out there that we can bring that's going to improve this squad even more? So there's gaps here and there. What would you do if it were you? What would you be looking to improve for on that starting 11? Let me know in the comments below. But that is basically going to do it. We're in a good financial position. We're in an exceptional league position going up to Tier 5 next season. And we've got some very good players that deserve a run out. But we've got plenty of opportunity to improve them over the summer, potentially, if we can figure out what we need to do. So, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for joining me for this season and this series so far. I hope you're enjoying it. There's loads more to come. We're only in that Tier 5. We'll hit a stumbling block at some point and struggle to move higher a bit, I would imagine. Is it going to be this coming season? Remember, for the next season, if we go and look into our cup competitions, we're looking out for Yeovil Town next season. We're up in the same division as them, and it's time to get some revenge on them for taking us out of the FA Trophy this season. We're also looking longer term to see if we can get above Sunderland and take some points off of them in league matches in the future. Those are a couple of teams that have done us the dirty so far, and we need to get back at them when possible. So remember those as we move higher up. Next season, though, we're into the Vanarama National League, Tier 5. So it's going to be an interesting and I hope a really fun season. Thank you for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode for me. That helps me get seen by lots of other people and helps me know that you're engaging in the content and enjoying it. Until next time and next season, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.